So it's been a month since Manato came out, and I just want to make a short review of him. This won't be a very scripted video. It'll mostly be my thoughts about how he plays and how he feels and how I feel he's going to impact the game going forward. You all know the basics. He's an A rank, he's a fire rupture, and he's strong. Really strong. He is easily putting out numbers around the level of 1.x limited DPS, and that obviously means he raises the bar for A rank and standard banner DPS. There are some things I want to get out of the way first with him, and that is his sound design, particularly his assist follow-up and EX attack. The sounds associated with those attacks are just amazing. I honestly think it is one of the best audio design I've seen on a character in Zenless Zone Zero so far. He's not swinging a sword at you. He's not using that sword to cut up his enemies. He's using that sword like a baseball bat. It's a lump of metal, not sharp enough to cut, but sharp enough to hurt. And you can hear that through his attacks. If a sword usually has the sound of slicing through the air, what you hear with him is metal grinding against the ground, against the enemies, against another metal. It's grating in a good way. So with that out of the way, short breakdown of his kit is basically slash slash slash, parry with his special, counter attack with his assist follow-up, defensive assist, blah blah blah. Another channel can explain it better than me, but this video isn't going to explain his kit in detail. It's not what I'm here for. This is mostly an unscripted video about how I feel about him. The simplest way I can describe his usage is that he has low skill floor and moderate skill ceiling. His difficulty doesn't come from execution, but mostly from matchup knowledge. While his special attack parry does activate on frame 1, you need to anticipate attacks to make good use of it. This means that good Manato players get a lot of their damage by understanding enemy attack patterns and knowing when to use his parries. It's basically knowing when or when to not commit to a move. A lot of his strings locks him into an animation. His basic 1 to 3 can be dash cancelable, but after that you are locked in animation. You cannot dash cancel out of it. And while the final hit of his basic attack string is invincible, it is ultimately damage loss compared to doing a parry and assist follow-up from his M2. And his assist follow-up locks you into a position. If an enemy moves around a lot, it can miss. And that is another part of challenge to using him. His damage ceiling is very high, but his max damage is highly dependent on Lucia. And while he can deal decent damage out of stun, most of his damage are backloaded into stun windows. This is because a big portion of his damage comes from his chain attacks and ultimate. Add to the fact that he can't really gain Yunque stacks out of stun easily. You either need to use his EX or use an out of stun chain attack like the one from Astra's ultimate or Yuzuha's M2 Mindscape. As for his matchups, I personally think he has a better matchup spread than Idhari, but that's mostly because he's a fire DPS and Idhari being an ice DPS is kinda paying for the sins of Miyabi. Yes, such is the fate of being an ice DPS. He has a pretty generous matchup spread in Deadly Assault, where there might not be a lot of fire weak enemies, but there aren't a lot of fire resistant enemies either, and he does very well in neutral element matchups. And I know you want me to talk about the elephant in the room, or more precisely, the lion in the room. Banyue. He's a fire rupture, a limited air strength fire rupture, and yes, he will definitely power creep Manato. But if I'm being honest, any content that shills for Banyue will also benefit Manato. Manato won't have any problems dealing with any matchups in Banyue's patch, and there is the possibility of Banyue's engine being good for Manato, so upgrades, plus the fact that you can use them in different teams. While Lucia is very good for ruptures, it's not like she's mandatory for them to perform. We've seen that with Yixuan, and a lot of her teams without Lucia, before Lucia releases, were doing just fine. Not to mention that if you don't have Yixuan, like me, it is a good idea to have 2 different rupture units in your account. So there's that. And speaking of power creep, let's talk about the standard banner. I'm sure from all of you who have read or watched the 2.5 dev blog that the devs are planning to buff standard banner characters. How are they going to buff them? We don't know. We don't have official details just yet. We will see in the future. And for those of you who are surprised that they are buffing the standard banner characters, I'd say it's really not. It's really not that much of a surprise. Why? Because Manato exists. While we know that power creep definitely exists in the game, it is never by a big margin. And Miyabi was kind of a special exception because she's a very special void hunter unit, and right now Manato is at new big margin in power, but not for the limited units, for the standard units. To put it into perspective, Manato basically has power crept most A rank DPS at M6, and all S-rank standard DPS need high mindscapes to outperform him by a good margin, an A rank. From a value standpoint, is it really worth it fishing for M5, M6 Soldier 11 to outperform an M6 Manato, whose mindscape you can guarantee each month in the store? There is such a large disparity in performance between Manato and the other standard banner DPS. It basically turns the standard banner pool into the Manato banner pool. And so, this is why I think it's not surprising that they are buffing other standard banner units, because it's maybe the only logical conclusion from how strong Manato is. The other standard banner, especially the DPS units, needs to catch up to around his level. The S ranks needs to be slightly above him, and the A ranks needs to be about under him. They don't have to be stronger than him, but they just need to hover around his level. He is the new benchmark for standard banner units, especially for A ranks DPS. But you said new A ranks power creeping the old units have always been a thing in gacha. Yes, I know. And it's not healthy either. I don't think it has ever been a healthy practice. It's not, and has never been healthy to a game balance, when a new standard unit basically invalidates the old standard units. So while I love that Manato is really strong, I also love that he's probably the catalyst for raising the bar for standard units. Because as the enemies get stronger, the HP gets higher, the game gets more complicated. The standard units, especially the 1.0 units, were designed with a different Zenless Zone Zero in mind, and they are being left behind. They need to catch up. And so, those are my overall thoughts on Manato 1 month in. Consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you for your time. Now go away.
I'm going